See if I can pull this off. This diagram just shows three of these boxes, but inside it's the same box that's been removed. And I'll show you how to do that so you get some measurement. But the first one is just trying to put 5 of these in a row. So just on a blank sheet in your book, it's very start this off. And again, just trying to come down 1/3 of the distance from the top. So I can still use this idea of the ruler to help me measure this, just putting 0 or your scale and putting 3 on there. Now if you use the architecture engineering scale, it's the same idea. I mean, you have this unit of measure that's here, so all you need to do is rotate this from 0 and put it at 9, because 9's easily divided by 3. Which is going to be at the number that's at 3 and 6. So I'm just going to put it at 6, and this is a little mark that I make that's a caret, which just shows the corner of that mark, so I know where that's the actual measurement. Sometimes when you do a line segment, you're not sure which end of the segment you're doing, so it's just putting those two pieces on there. And then just go ahead and take the scale and give yourself the horizon line, and ask that you put initial at least so you have the understanding of where that's at. Where it intersects on the left, that's going to be your vanishing point, so just VPL, so vanishing point to the left. And when it intersects the page here, it's just an easy way to do this, VP with an R. So now you have it divided 1/3 away from the top. If you take a look at the scale, when you look at the bottom, it'll help you line it up so you can put it at the bottom of the page just to give yourself a vertical line. And if I just slightly sketch it in there, at least I know where I'm going in the line segment, and just go ahead and create that segment. Doesn't matter, right there. And again, just as we've been doing so far, just rotate this from here to the vanishing point. So I'll just put the pen on the vanishing point and just make a light line. I'm doing it in pen so you can see it, and do the same for the bottom line segment, so that, and I'm going dark to light just to emphasize the fact that it's going in the distance. And then doing the same way over to the right. So here's the top of this, rotating it right to the vanishing point, just steady the scale. And again, I'm going from a heavy line to a light, just let it fade away. And do the same with the bottom again. So you have this long segment, and we're not sure how tall or wide it is, but we're kind of focusing on this first part. So the first shape that I make, I'll give an indication for it, and then just line it up to get a vertical segment, and just go ahead and create that in there. Now that's the key piece. I didn't finish the other part of the drawing on purpose, just to keep it simple, because you're using this to help you measure. So if you take a look, you need to find the center of this just by crossing the diagonal. And I'll put a line, but you don't need to make a huge line, just you're trying to estimate the centers right about there. So I just put a light line. And then when I come back the other direction for the other diagonal, I'm just going to indicate it with an intersection like that, because that's the only part I need. That way I can divide this whole shape by putting the ruler there, come to the vanishing point, and just put a light line, because I'm going to use it right to there. I'll put it just so you know where it's going. But I only need to locate the center of this square. And we did this a little bit before, and just the repetition of it, trying to get it into your memory, is to use this to help measure. So it's not an object line, I'm just going to let it be a measuring line. So it's going to intersect here and come down to the bottom. And from that part, I'm just going to create a vertical line. So I'm lining up the bottom of the scale to the page just to help me with the vertical line. And this one's going to be the heavy one. That's going to divide it right there. Okay? You'll notice this center line went all the way through, so all I have to do is connect it from here to here. to make this, and I'm just going to do this. You can go all the way to the end, but I'm just going to do it 5 times to get 5 equal divisions that are in perspective. And this will help you with any of the animation, drawing, anything that you try to compose, and the concept is there all the way through this. So here it is again. So I just put the scale, put the pen, line it up so I can get that line. I'm extending it just to show it to you. And that gives me this piece. So this is the linear perspective, and it's also considered the mechanical part of it, but it'll help you with every one of your drawings, even just the thought of it, to give you the idea. So here it is. Now I have the whole 5 pieces going back in distance. And hopefully you can see that if this was a building like an example of 3-point perspective, it's going to show up where it's giving me this whole angle. If I do it upside down, you can see it. And I'm just spinning it just to show you all the different concepts that really matter to that. For example, if this was a sidewalk going into the distance, you have that type of thing, or the side of a building. Everything that you can think of is right there now. Okay? The last part, just try to figure out how deep you're going to make this, and use the scale to line up just to finish this back one off. The tops of all these boxes now can be drawn because I know this point, and this goes way back to the first perspective box that you did without measuring everything out. First group. This goes all the way back, and I'll just keep going just so you know where it came from. And then to stop this off, all these have to radiate from this top piece. So I'll just come to the beginning one. Put a light line just so you can see the connection to it. And just kind of rotating it around so you can see it. Like I said, all the way from the Renaissance that they established perspective up till now, and it's all used in all the different animation, games, you name it. It's all there. So now you have these 5 boxes, and they're in perspective. Their distance getting smaller in proportion to themselves based off of that particular segment. And then trying to get you to take a look at this, and if you remember, I'm just going to shade it lightly with pencil, and I'll go back in with the pen. Ooh, look out. And again, that concept of the hatch lines, whether it's pen or pencil, I have a little bit of a textured surface, and it brings you back up to that edge. Okay? So you can continue this part off. And again, think of it as Illustrator with the gradients onto your shading. So it starts off as a linear drawing, and here I'm just trying to lose the line and let it be shaded all the way up to that edge. Hopefully that'll give you a little bit of a piece to take a look at. I'll try to show you a sample of a little bit more of a shaded piece, but the linear part brings you right into the shaded part.